Welcome everybody to live podcast. I should name it Star 466 Radio, but the real Star 466 Radio is going to be live tomorrow around 2 to 3 p.m. We're going to be doing that with some new guests. But today we got Ava Mia with us. I'm sure you know who that is if you have seen some of our other podcasts before.
Yes,
You talk
hello.
All right. Well, I did a video of the first part of this series, which was of me reacting to in a 1976 interview with Mark Hamill. It's just like 2 minutes long, so this is going to be I don't know however long it's going to be. I'm not sure the total length of it, but yeah, we're just going to be reacting to some old interviews to see some things that maybe we haven't seen before. Um, the original stars cast, and so it's not going to be just the cast. It may be some of the guy. It may be just George Lucas for one. Let's start off with George Lucas, and then we go to, you know what? Yeah, let's do it like the actual cast. I'm gonna follow along to what I said in the title of this. You got anything to say before we start, Mia, about this?
Not really.
Not really. You excited for it?
A little
Now,
bit.
this, I believe, the thing I'm about to show everybody is, all right. So we'll start with Alec Guinness, like a 50-second interview with him, and then we'll go to something that I really look forward to for a while. And I did do this. This is my first live of doing this, so if I mess up, please forgive me. I'm gonna try my best. Here we go. So, let me know if it lags me for you, or if I
Okay.
can get it. I'm just trying this for the first time, and I gotta share my screen. Go to. Here we go. All right. How's that? Nope, not the right one. Okay.
Oh,
Can you see it good? Can you see it?
it's kind of blurry, but I see it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really old.
Suggestions there in the script. George Lucas suggested to me something of a samurai warrior in one way, hence I'm dressed in this partly
Wearing
dressed
the same robe.
something of a wise man.
Wearing the same robe.
Like
Right.
character.
I think it's probably during his
And
film.
I think that there's
Yeah.
been borrowings, obviously, but a suggestion from Tolkien's books of The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings. What? It's not working.
It seemed to me to present far more problems for the robots.
Okay, that was a pretty quick interview. That's nice. All right, here's the next one. Let me go to it. Here we go. I got like a whole playlist of this ready for everybody. Here's audition tape. So this is the audition tape for Mark Hamill into Star Wars. So, oh yeah.
Am I blocking him if I do?
No.
It's so blurry. It's a
Shit.
long time ago.
1976.
You can't find Organa Major?
I found it, it just ain't there.
Organa Major's been destroyed?
It's like it's completely contaminated. Look at those radiation readouts, that's it there. It's impossible.
You see it?
I've never seen anything like it.
He sounds like exactly the same.
Right.
Is that actually Harrison Ford? River, is that actually Harrison Ford?
It would have taken
Yeah.
it would have taken 1,000 ships with more firepower than I've ever seen to do that. The Empire had a new weapon that was capable of doing that. I've heard of.
All right, so this scene, I believe, is when they're on the Millennium Falcon, if I'm not mistaken.
But I know something.
Well, now you know. Amy's on the move. We haven't much time.
Well, I brought you here. Now what?
We have to find the rebels. What we're carrying belongs to them.
The bases are very well hidden. All the power of the Empire.
Imagine
can't find
being
them. You know where they are?
They're probably like, what is they talking about? They're probably
Well, I'm not
so
thinking
confused
on the
right now.
possible across the galaxy.
They have
I'll
no
start-
idea.
Now you're here.
No?
Give me my other 5,000. You're on your own. I'll let you off in the nearest system.
You can't. Look, we've come this far. We must find them.
Why?
Well, for one reason, you don't have your other 5,000.
Well, who's going to pay me?
I wish they had this in the movie.
I know.
I think we should talk.
At least the same quality. It deserves the
I'm
same
going to
quality.
make like you.
I know. They probably edited it a little bit.
Beginning, I like you. Beginning. Thank you.
Well, how much do you think she's talking about?
$1 million at least. If this robot has information related to the destruction of Organa Major, you'll be able to name the reward.
What? They probably are like, what is that? He has like the same haircut for the movie. How long ago was this?
Hans, maybe
76.
you should just drop us off. I'm sure we'll be able to find someone willing to take the
Was
risk.
that before or after the first?
Right. You got yourself a ship. But where do we go from here? I mean, they've taken her to find the hidden bases. How are we going to get to the rebels before she breaks? The Empire already beat us here.
She's part of the royal family. They won't get any information from her. She
I
knows a lot
haven't
of
seen
mind
any of
control.
this, by the way.
Still, she is our only link between us and the hidden bases.
You're saying that we should follow them?
No, I didn't say that, but it appears to be a logical alternative.
No, that's impossible. They're in Alderaan. Nobody dares venture near the Alderaan system. Listen, I'm freebooter, not a revolutionary. You're on the wrong ship, son.
People back then are like, what are they talking about? This is
They voluntarily work to our advantage. They probably don't think anyone would dare try.
Don't you believe it?
Fear is their greatest defense. I doubt if the actual security there is much greater than on Aquilai or Sullus, and what there is most likely directed towards a large-scale assault.
This is not a...
Who talks like that?
What?
I remember. Oh my gosh, who talks like that? All right, that was a interesting thing, an interesting line that they to cut out from the movie. This line right here. It's probably one of my favorite lines that is not in any of the movies.
What did you say?
Listen.
Fear is their greatest defense. I doubt if the actual security there is much greater than on Aquilai or Sullus, and what there is most likely directed towards a large-scale assault.
This is not a game, you know.
What did he know it so fast?
You have
I
no
know.
place to hide your force to fight. Don't
memorized
you
that
realize
part.
what's going on?
How do you memorize that?
You take the glory and the good intentions. I'll take the reward.
Fear is their greatest weapon.
I'm not afraid of anything.
You will be.
Okay, good.
Right where George Lucas say, okay, good.
All right.
No, he left.
What?
Yeah, he left. Oh man. Okay, let's see what else we got.
I could barely hear any of that. Like, he was talking so fast that last line.
Right. All right. Hold on 1 second.
The first day shooting, the script had words and a lot of
March
technical jargon, and I had to
1977,
say
okay.
binary load, programming binary load lifters, and I still can't say it. And we must have done maybe 5 or 6 takes before it occurred to me it didn't matter what I said because my lips weren't moving. Sitting down was impossible in the costume. It just
Yeah.
wasn't made to bend. And so anytime you see me sitting down,
It's a robot.
either you don't see below the waist, or I sat down without the costume and they would come with bits and pieces and tape and sticky and everything and build up a kind of mock-up version, which if you half close your eyes in the studio, it would look all right. And it looks all right on film, I think. I had this terrible leaning board, a kind of medieval thing with arms that allowed you to recline at about 70 degrees and was very
No.
all the weight still went down to your ankles. And it was like walking around with a great barbell all day, by the end of the day. Wow. Walking in sand, if you look carefully when I'm walking past the big bones in the desert, you know what I mean? You can see
that's
that
the,
I can
crane
barely
dragon.
move. And in fact, just as I got around the corner, I fell over. for the only time in the film, and was found sticking completely stick-like at an angle with my arm at 90 degrees sticking into the sand. So there I was, propped up on one arm, which stuck right in the sand, and they just kept, because once fallen down, I couldn't then retrieve myself at all.
That's interesting. Here,
It was stuck.
have you seen this right here? Okay, see
I
this
haven't
one
seen
right here.
any stuff.
Yeah, I have seen
If
it.
each of you feel you're typecast into the Star Wars mold.
Well, I don't. And if I am, I can't think of a better role to be typecast
It's
into.
18 points.
I don't think that happens that much anymore. And I've had the opportunity, because of the success of the film, to do a number of other films with different characters. And if the film hadn't been successful, I might not have had that opportunity.
Yeah.
That's sort of a tricky word too, because I think all actors, when you say a specific name, you think of a specific type of film, Clint Eastwood or whoever. So
You have a different haircut. This is
and all the leads typecast are working.
Right.
Maybe the same sort of roles, but
I think the audience, with Mark's character in particular, will be surprised if they think they knew his type.
Oh man,
before
why are the
the
mouse
first film.
masks
I
like
think
that?
they'll find that his type is changing. That his character, I mean, this is a function of the scripts. This was always intended. His character has changes from the first, in the first and the second film.
Are you guys good friends away from Star Wars business? Do you see each other much? Well, I guess I played before. So much for that one.
No, we do see each other occasionally.
we
But
don't speak to one another, but we see each other.
You see each other, but
Right. No, you know what it is? It's people say, "Are you a family?" And you say yes, but that with everything that a family implies.
Yeah.
Sibling rivalry, small fights.
somebody spanking somebody.
Sure.
In trying to escape from the Empire forces, Princess Leia, Luke, Han, Chewbacca, C-3PO, and R2-D2 stopped off the newest character in the Star Wars series, Lando Calrissian, played by Billy
yeah.
D. Williams.
I know
You'll
him.
remember him from
what
Brian
are you talking about?
Blues.
No, that's so blurry.
Oh, they want to meet us.
I don't like this.
I don't like
Well, they did let us land.
look, don't worry. Everything's going to be fine.
blurry Jackson. Even. They need some good edits to make it way clearer, you know?
At least my
My
film
friend.
was clearer than this.
Yeah.
Keep your eyes open, huh?
I was stuck funny because he's telling her, "It's all right."
No good swindler. You got a lot of guts coming here after what you pulled.
How you doing?
Knowing the solo backstory is pretty interesting. To know what happened, what he pulled.
Very friendly.
What are you doing here? Repairs. I thought you could help me out. What have you done to my ship? Your ship? Hey, remember, you lost her to me fair and square. And how you doing, Chewbacca? You still hanging around with this loser? Hello, what have we here? Welcome, I'm Lando Calrissian. I'm the administrator of this facility. And who might you be?
Anything from talk more.
Welcome, Leia.
Mm-hmm.
All right. You old smoothie.
Hello, sir. I am C-3PO Human Cyborg Relations. My facilities are at you. Really?
I saw the Strikes Back for the first time about a week and a half ago, and I just thought it was fantastic. I thought it was phenomenal. People watching are incredulous to hear an actor say something like that. Why? Well, they have a different view. I don't know what they think, but for you to say that you've just now seen the movie after I have, and you were in it, always amazes them. You know what I mean?
Well, there's so much involved, you see. I mean, there's a lot of technology, and of course, we didn't see a lot of that as we were working.
Particularly in a film like this, we see it as much as an audience as anybody else. I mean, when we're in the cockpit, which is our favorite stuff, wasn't it? Wasn't that fun? You know, it's blue screen where they mat in later stars or asteroids or, you know, laser blasts or anything like that. Or we'll shoot a gun and then they'll be, you know, we're shooting at. Or I'll look and I'll see what they
saying?
call
I just said they probably don't know the setting because all they see is blue.
I never saw a lineup.
Right.
You just have to have a great deal of
Yeah,
concentration.
the moment seemed very flat. And then, of course, when I edit everything together, I mean, it takes on a whole other.
Well, same thing with our TV weathermen. They look at a screen and it's chroma key, and they're not looking at the map that the people see. They're looking over the monitor.
Really?
They're making their fingers point to where they're seeing the monitor make the finger point, because there's nothing there. So it's the same way with Star Wars. It's oversimplified for people at home. What do? They talk you through it? Do they say, here's what you see?
Well, they give you an idea of what's going on, and you certainly you need to use your imagination.
Yeah,
A lot
exactly.
of willingness to be foolish.
You have to be childlike.
Now, my favorite of all these has been and still is C-3PO. Here he's talking to Han Solo.
Why is that guy's favorite?
Go switch off. Why don't you take this apart now? I'm trying to get us out of here and you pull both of these. Excuse me, sir. Put them back together right now. Might I have a word with you, please? What do you want? Well, it's Princess Leia, sir. She's been trying to get you on the communicator.
I turned it off. I don't want to talk to her.
Well, Princess Leia is wondering about Master Luke. He hasn't come back yet. She doesn't know where he is.
I don't know where he is.
Nobody knows where he is.
What do you mean nobody knows?
Well, you said...
Deck officer! Deck officer!
Excuse me, sir. Might I...
Yes, sir. You know where Commander Skywalker is? I haven't seen him. It's possible he came in through the south entrance. It's possible. Why don't you go find out? It's getting dark out there. Yes, sir.
C-3PO is played by British actor Anthony Daniels. I talked with him and director Irv Kirshner and asked Daniels what kind of character
Kirshner, he was
C-3PO
the
really is.
director in this movie.
One of the original neurotics, and the trouble. Have you ever noticed with neurotics, everything happens to them. They never have an easy life.
They're victims.
They really are the original victims.
It sounds too much like C-3PO. Like it's funny seeing him talk about anything else.
He also suffers from the fact that
Right.
he has knowledge which he wants to impart to people because it would help them, and they just don't want to listen. It's a very bad way of talking to people.
I think he captured the most imaginative personality, even now through Empire, of any of the characters at all, which is remarkable considering that it is an unhuman.
He does
image
have
that's
a
presented.
interesting personality, I'll say that for sure.
Act is done by this absolutely extraordinary piece of sculpture. It was sculpted by an artist called Liz Moore. And she had 6 of these heads for George Lucas all those years ago to choose from and for me to look at and everything. And they chose the one I didn't want.
Really?
Well, originally he had big black eyes. He looked very strange. But when it was all in gold, it's the most brilliant prop to work with, really. I mean,
Nice. All right. Yeah, we'll just play like this. See what pops up.
Okay.
Father and son, and I mean, a son and a daughter, and it was that relationship that was the core of the story, it went through a lot of machinations before I even got to the first draft screenplay, various characters changed shapes and sizes, and it isn't really until it
You always
evolved
done the
into
same.
what is close to the Star Wars, and I begin to go back and deal with the stories that evolved to get us to that point, and that it's hard to say really where how it evolves into a piece, because you evolve various scenes and various moments, and when you're creating something like that, the story itself takes over and the characters take over and they begin to tell the story apart.
Right,
And you kind of go with it and send you down some very
How did you make it just through there? That was crazy. The whole.
The Force.
But that's the adventure of writing. The fact that you're not sure where it's going to go.
Whoa.
What if Tarkin survived?
I worked on Star Wars for a couple of years.
What if Grand Admiral
before it
Tarkin
evolved into
survived?
What it is.
Should I make a what if scenario?
Harrison Ford, vous alors, vous apparaissez dans ce film. Dans ce film, vous jouez, on ne vous voit pas dans cette séquence. Dans la séquence, vous êtes le pilote un peu. mercenaire, un petit peu hors la loi, qui vient finalement au secours de ces malheureux pour aller délivrer la princesse. C'est presque un rôle de personnage
what was
de
it like
western
having that
dans
role?
ce film. Êtes-vous d'accord?
I'll be
avec
the
la
translator for
définition?
everybody. Oh wait, or no, they already have a translator in that. Great.
And it's almost a part of a mercenary in a western. It's almost a western character that you're playing. Do you agree with that?
Well, the character is the kind of character that appears in many different kinds of American films, in westerns and in contemporary dramas. It's a common character. All of the characters are very simple kinds of archetypical characters.
C'est un personnage assez classique qui apparaît dans toutes sortes de films, dans différents genres de films, western ou autres. C'est un personnage très délimité.
Pourquoi a-t-il dit oui à la proposition
You know what
de
they're saying
tourner
then?
avec Lucas? Il avait tourné, je crois, je ne vais pas participer à Graffiti lui-même.
Yeah, why did you
French changed over time.
to do this film with George Lucas? You did a film for him before, didn't you?
Yes, I did American Graffiti with George. I respect his film craft very much, and I saw the opportunity in this character to play a part that I thought would be very successful in the film.
Oui, j'ai beaucoup de respect pour le talent de George Lucas. J'avais auparavant tourné dans American Graffiti pour lui, et j'ai vu là l'occasion pour moi de jouer un rôle intéressant.
Est-ce que sa participation dans ce film s'est soldée par d'autres propositions? Je crois qu'il va partir bientôt en Yougoslavie tourner.
Did this part bring you other propositions? I believe you're going to do another film in Yugoslavia now.
Yes, I'm going to do a film that's produced by Carl Foreman called Force 10 from Navarone, World War II action adventure drama.
Je vais tourner un film produit par Carl Foreman qui s'appelle
This role definitely helped his career build up, basically.
de Navarone, et c'est un film de la Deuxième Guerre mondiale.
Bien, alors, bonne chance à Harrison Ford, il le mérite bien, car il fait partie justement, je le disais, de cette génération de comédiens américains que nous, Européens, nous ne connaissons pas toujours, mais que nous découvrons au fil des films.
Good luck to you, because you're a member of that generation.
Huh?
Oh, I was
What do you
saying they're talking really fast.
You're breaking up at me with the your audio. Hey.
Oh, I can't see the screen anymore.
We gotta wait for you to come back on. Then
Okay.
I'm gonna decide something pretty interesting.
Bye.
You still there?
Can you hear me?
You there? Your audio is very. I will leave and come back on. Okay, so everybody, she's gonna come back on just a few. So yeah, I'll just wait on her. I don't know if it's my audio or my visual camera or if it's just hers. So she's in the back of the studio right now. I have a few things to say. Working on a script right now for my other show, so it's pretty cool. Okay, there she is.
Hi, again. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can. I don't know what was up with the audio. That was
you're breaking up again a little bit.
Oh, I am?
I might move locations to get better internet.
Perhaps so.
I might need to move locations to get better internet.
We'll do a few more. There's a couple of interviews I want to do that I am just one like all by itself instead of just a combination of them. So yeah. So I'm gonna do some longer ones here. Perhaps let me see. I'll do one.
Is that all the videos that you have?
No, I have tons more. I'm just trying to decide. I'm thinking that we're gonna do a longer one here. Let's do. They have all the footage from back then. Yeah. Yeah, this is fun. It's really amazing how many they have.
Yeah.
It's outstanding.
Hello, everyone. Hi.
All right. All right, here we go. I'm gonna share my screen. You see it, right?
No, I don't. Oh, now I do. Stuff.
How can you say you don't?
And winning yet another battle in space was the hero of Star Wars, Luke Skywalker, known in real life as Mark Hamill. And this is Mark's very first appearance on British children's television. So, Mark, welcome to Blue Peter.
Thank you very
Thanks
much.
very much for coming along.
My
British?
pleasure. I'm surprised you call it a children's show because when we were filming the movie,
I'm sorry
I
for the
watched Blue Peter all the time.
Dutch.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that. Tell me, how did you get the part of Luke Skywalker in the first place?
I wish I had an adorable anecdote to tell you.
What is
I was
it?
in a restaurant
Thing
and
at the
George
bottom.
Lucas, the director, was having a meal and he leaped up.
Is that German?
and said, "There's Luke Skywalker." I
No.
auditioned. No, unfortunately, I auditioned like anybody else, and
And you got the part?
yeah.
Had you done any acting before?
Yes,
We saw that audition earlier.
I started
Yeah.
Earlier in the
doing
show.
plays at about age 12, and I went to Los Angeles City College in the theater arts department for 2 years, and I'd racked up I finally figured out about 148 credits before doing a feature film.
Yeah. But Star Wars is really the first really big feature that you've done.
Yes,
Had some
sure.
very big names in it. So Alec
Sure.
Guinness and Peter Cushing. How did
Yeah.
you feel working with them?
Well, I was just staggered. I thought there's no way I can actually meet this man, much less appear in the same scene with him. I'm speaking of Sir Alec because unfortunately I never had a scene with Peter Cushing, but he was surprised because I went to
Like, the minor characters are like amazing, and they come up and be like a huge character too. You know?
find a poster.
Oh, that's nice. Can you tell us a little about what the story is about? in Star
Well,
Wars?
the story, when you actually put it into words, is only so much
words at the
nonsense to
bottom?
hang a great visual experience onto. It's the stuff that fairy tales are made of. We have a fairy princess. We have an innocent farm boy who yearns for adventure. Alec Guinness is a wise old wizard who teaches me a mystical force, somewhat like Merlin would teach a
not
young
really
King
about
Arthur.
the forest. You there?
To I inherit.
Farm Boy makes good.
Yes.
A nice.
in a
I hope it's a
nutshell.
good ending. I'd have to go and see it to make sure it is. Did you
Yeah.
have any problems with the fantastic technical tricks that there are in the film?
Well, a lot of the times we would have to just imagine. There would be a blue screen outside the cockpit, like the film clip we just saw. And here we were in these
Yeah.
gun ports having a great time, but
Sorry,
Too
my
late.
internet cut out.
You leave?
Yeah, my internet is just really bad right now. You know?
Yeah, don't worry. My internet has been acting up recently as well. I don't know what's wrong with it. Here, is there like another way we can have this? How's that? Is that better? Or you like this?
They probably want to see our reaction because this is called reacting to old interviews. So if they don't see us, then they don't see our reaction.
well, we were in the gun ports, but all we saw was a blue screen. So George would tell us to look, from right to left, like zoom, there it goes, and boom,
So you had to pretend.
Certainly, you see, people understand. In a way, that's no different than driving a car in a film, which is in fact being towed by a camera car. You're pretending to drive. It's
Yes.
no different than
All the tricks of making a film.
It's
in
all
fact, isn't it?
make-believe.
But at least you didn't have to wear any of those very complicated costumes when you were playing your part of Luke
They
Skywalker.
can-
Because some of the actors, in fact, who were playing the baddies, they really did have quite a time of it.
Sure.
Were playing
Is that
the
a cat
Imperial
in the
forces. They
back?
had to wear space age armor and funny helmets.
it's a cat.
Look at our funny helmets, John. Talking of funny helmets, John.
John's never looked better, has he?
Oh,
He's
John,
never
did you
looked
know
better.
that? Mom said you never
say
look
that.
better.
He's never looked
Climb over.
better.
It's not frightening. I hate to tell you. Not convincing as a
Now,
baby.
this, mind you, was worn by actors in the England's
Because it's last time we get
summer. Was it? Remember
Yeah.
the summer?
Wow.
No, that's not it. Is it?
That it? Why
not
would
it.
you just walked in wearing a stormtrooper hat? What? That was.
Here, I watched this earlier. I didn't finish. I watched the first couple parts of this. Let's watch this.
City Lights.
Now joins Harrison Ford, Mark Hamill,
on The Empire Strikes Back.
1977 camera is better than 1980 camera.
You think so?
A little bit. It's super blurry.
We didn't see each other very
Yeah,
much,
1980
when we
was
were
different. It was definitely different.
because our stories are separated in the.
They probably have to go to so many interviews, and
No, what it was when you
Perhaps.
finished making
Maybe it was
Star
just
Wars,
a certain
of your careers
certain
had
thing.
gone into working with each other. When the film was finished and you finished the publicity tour, stopped in Canada, among other locations.
I remember it's all coming back to me now.
What do you remember, Harrison, about Canada?
Oh God, pink walls and a green carpet, just like every place else. I mean, we were in hotel rooms most of the time, the way we are here now. I had very little real experience of the cities I was in Canada. I'd like to go back sometime. But
Canada was really nice.
What he's asking is, do we
Yeah, I
hate
like
each other's
Canada.
guts off
I like
camera?
No.
Ontario.
Cool. That's what we
In fact, I'd heard rumor that you were actually friends.
Yeah, we
Now
are.
you've blown that.
I don't think it's to the extent that, we,
Cherokee jacket or something.
go over to each other's houses for
I work for Stark Industries. As you can see.
No, the jacket that he's wearing looks like Indian.
Oh no, it's Canadian.
Canadian? Oh.
That's what you should do.
The blue pants or the green pants?
Yeah, and don't
Hey,
wear
you
the
do your hair thing.
Let me ask you something, Harrison. Mark said that he accepted the responsibility of the creation of Luke Skywalker because of what it meant to millions of young people. You said that in terms of your continuing creation of Han Solo, that what you were determined to do was to keep it simple.
Isn't it Han? Is it Han or Han? Han.
Did you, one never knows.
It's Han Solo. Who says hands?
You said Han Solo, so I thought it was Han Solo.
Because I didn't really know.
You can see it either way, I guess.
I didn't know what was going to happen at all.
It's like Leia or Leah. It's wood.
I guess it was about a month before we started shooting.
Yeah.
That's when I got the script.
Well, I say Han.
I don't think I had a goal with it.
It's a car.
Can you put your arm down ever?
Organize it that way.
No, I'm gonna keep my arm
more
like
apt
this.
to try and find a functional
That looks so weird.
solution to a
What are they
problem
talking about?
than to think that way.
I only ask that because if one can believe the statement that no one ever sets out to make a bad film.
Yeah.
And when one reads a script or an agent makes a deal, you go off to do the job to the best of your ability.
Right.
When you put all the time and effort you put into a film like Hanover Street, and you read the kind of vitriolic response you must have been aware of toward it, surely you worked hard to do what you might have done well in that film.
Mm-hmm.
When you say Han Solo is a character that you...
I have a trick. I never read the vitriolic response to it, and I was out of town while the mobs were still in the streets. I did 6 films between the first and the second, and some of them were not as successful as I might have hoped for. But the effort put into it is...
You did 6 films in between
The
Empire and
experience,
the first one.
is always useful.
Why?
Right.
And I think the actors work provide occasional, perhaps mistakes in judgment.
All right. Mark, when you speak the way you do about Luke Skywalker and the changes in your life because of the near fatal car accident,
Well,
what happened?
near fatal is, again, that's much of it is having to do with the way things are built up. It's like playing telephone where you get the message and tell someone else, it goes all the way around by the time you don't recognize it anymore.
Oh yeah,
What
that game
happened
is still
I tried to
was around in the
negotiate
80s.
3 lanes on a deserted freeway.
You run like for a
And
long
about sunset,
Right.
6:30 or so. And
I miss
broke
that
my
game. That
leg
game
against
is really
the steering
fun.
wheel.
No.
And that's about all. It was about where
Review.
Star Wars came out. No one was
About
interested
his
then. I don't
his
see why they're so interested
his
now.
accident. I would do that in a
How
separate
do you
video, I
respond
believe.
to the industry information that Mel Ferrer is after you for a new production of Peter Pan? Are you interested?
Peter Pan.
I was always interested in seeing that story done.
like
Can they
the
zoom in
book
any
and not
closer?
like the musical, which is another thing. I don't know whether that's true or not. My favorite thing I ever read was that I was going to play Sylvester Stallone's son in the sequel to Fist. And now, those are the kind
Rocky?
of things you read that, and sometimes they're true and
Is
sometimes
he talking
they're
about
not.
Rocky?
So I don't know if that.
This is like high
I
pitched
wanna
sound.
work,
Though. It's kind of weird.
Has Mel Ferrer been in touch with you or only with columnists?
No, he's never called me as far as I know.
Maybe you're supposed to respond to him, Mark, and say, I've just read this in the paper, and yes, I'm interested.
Maybe I should.
Have you done any writing since that episode of Wheeler Dealers you did? Texas Wheelers? Sorry.
No, just letters to my mom, you know. But that's something that I really like to do. I mean, it seems like that might be one of the only alternatives to. Hopefully, I think in The Empire Strikes Back, you see that I have an ability that people maybe didn't realize from the first Star Wars. But again, I'm prepared not to work as much as I hate the inactivity.
Probably didn't know how many series there's going to be in Star Wars, you know?
You know, unless I'm really strapped for cash.
There'll be no.
I think they planned on for 3 years.
Not if I can help it.
Yeah.
I mean, or not three movies, I believe.
Physical fitness campaign preparing for Empire as Mark was, or David Prowse.
No, not at all.
Why not?
Because I didn't have to do anything very strenuous, and besides, I have an almost pathological aversion to exercise for its own sake. I like to work occasionally, but I don't. I'm not a physical fitness freak as much as it's fashionable at the moment.
I think I know
So
who
David
is.
Prowse and Mark Hamill just left you out of their dialogues on pecs and biceps and who had gained how many inches that day.
Yeah, but see, Dave
Are you
Prowse
waving
has
me?
a balcony you could do Shakespeare
What?
from. Have you seen those pecs?
what?
Are you a
Mark?
Well,
a
it was
physical?
awful. It's
You
that
kn-
like
you
that
wanna
old
work out
guy, the moron,
nonstop?
hit himself on the head with a hammer.
No,
He felt so
I
good when
do
he-
ballet a lot, but I'm not like, every day, all day, 24 hours. No.
experience.
How about the karate?
Yeah, I mean,
Karate
I
also
doing it.
very physically. I mean, you're just
Karate.
absolutely spent when you're finished. You feel like your lungs are going to burst. My favorite part of the training was the kendo, which is Japanese sword play, but that's really stylized and beautiful. And it
Japanese
looks like where things are going. I mean, I don't know much about the
No,
third.
so
Revenge of the Jedi, but I do know that
Revenge
in
of the
this film, I
Jedi.
promised Yoda I'd go back and finish my training.
Revenge of the Jedi. That's what it was
Probably
gonna.
should
That's
get
what
my
Return of the
mouth
Jedi. The reason behind that, it was gonna be Revenge of the Jedi, but George Lucas said the Jedi, they're not supposed to revenge, so he named Revenge of the Sith after that because the Sith are out for revenge and the Jedi aren't.
Maybe
The
there are some
Jedi
people at
returned,
high
but
school in Japan
it
that
was
you could
not out of
really go
revenge.
back to prep with your kendo.
Maybe, yeah. I went to Yohai. You've really done your homework.
How did fatherhood change your life? I mean, you're sitting with an actor and a friend who was a father before all of this began. But how did fatherhood change your life?
Well, first of all, it happened while I was doing the film, so there's a tremendous split concentration there because your wife needs the sort of attention, and you know, we were going to Lamaze classes and whatnot. Which is
I
sort
don't
of
like how they're doing
considered very
that.
avant-garde in England. I was running around the hospital with a stopwatch, timing everything, you know. And
Star Wars.
at
Talking about this stuff.
house.
I don't know all
And insects. We had hours to get to London. So out of desperation, we went to.
Wait, did
this
you watch
hospital
this
right near his
live?
house. It turned out to be National Health, and the lady that ran the floor was
You there?
like, you know, this.
Yeah.
showed Look,
Did you watch this live
don't know
in
what you
1980
expect
on Brian Linehan's City Lights?
Stopwatch away. Stop
No.
that. I was like, oh, man. It was really a harrowing experience. Not funny at the time, but you look back on it.
Nurse Ratched.
Yeah, it was like Nurse Ratched.
Harrison, I want to bring something.
Watch this slide. Like,
You made a reference to the film between Star Wars and Empire. And I
to
sent
watch
you
the Star Wars. No.
actor.
Wait, never mind. Never mind. Just a-
Meaningful. But the other one with Coppola was the conversation.
Hey, we'll go
the fact that he
to
worked
just
with
a few
Gene
more
Hackman.
minutes, all right? I
And
guess
Gene
I gotta
Hackman
write.
said recently in conversation
Got some
that
work I gotta do for the
I
movies.
had brought up the fact why he had
I just wanted to get this out for everybody today.
Superman.
Yeah.
Were there no
Tomorrow,
challenges?
the actual
Gene Hackman
podcast
said,
will
"Oh,
be
there are
tomorrow. Have
challenges.
some new guests on,
I prefer as an actor not to
and
take
then
them.
Thursday
I
we
just
have
wonder
the new
with all the
videos.
work that you did.
Starting
Did
come
you
out
do
Thursday,
6 films
Friday, maybe on
in
Saturday.
Remember, if we're gonna talk about this, you might need to pause the video.
Or you
Huh?
simply wanted to
You might
not?
need to pause the video if you're gonna talk about that.
Well,
All right, I know.
To,
That's good.
to say you believe in a film, I think it's only important to believe in the films, which are films of belief, which are films that are strong in ideas, which may affect people's lives. I don't think some of those films were those kinds of films. I think they were pure entertainments. Then I did them for very, as an actor, I wanted to preserve my career, and it was necessary for me to work for a variety of reasons. And the films that I chose to demonstrate different capacities, and they were films made for different audiences.
Where does Hero fall into that?
Well, Heroes is that character is very much related to a very strong idea. I think it's one of the things I most like.
Hey, if you check the thumbnail of this video, it's the I like it. Hopefully it won't go away. I'll keep it how it is.
What's the thumbnail?
I think I've had a chance to work
Go
enough
check it out. Go to
people in the industry.
the web.
Well, it says this.
From Donnelly,
I have like a screen and my dad has it on my computer, so I can't watch.
And Robert Shaw.
Yeah. Oh,
What
okay.
you have?
I can watch most of your videos, so.
Robert Shaw.
I
I don't watch any more videos. I upload them, then I just
separate out.
move on to the next one.
I think he's a great friend.
I mean, sometimes I like it
During a short
whenever I
period of
want
time.
to, whenever I
Great
can,
friend.
when I have time to. Like I thumbs up, all that.
Shame.
What?
It's so mysterious that no one knows about how involved in Empire points out things they didn't know even during the actual production. Use you as an actor who might want to open a script, read his role, and begin working on his characterization, or is it so much fun?
Mark Hamill
that
is
the
really
actor
mad.
can approach it as yet another exercise in
Doesn't he?
adventure.
Maybe.
That's
very
adventure and the fun of it for yourself. It doesn't exist, but you got to try and preserve the illusion of it. What's fun for me is good hard work, and that film had plenty of it.
A lot of the information is
a lot of hard work.
characterization because your character wouldn't know that was going to happen anyway. I've never been involved in a project of this kind. And I was on some talk show saying Jack Lemmon and Hal Linden sort of sniffed at the idea that he would never take a project where he didn't know what the scripts were going to be. But I don't think he really understood what sort of faith I have in George Lucas and in his dream. And I'd love to see it realized. And I really feel in Empire Strikes Back, the story is only beginning to be told. The first one laid the groundwork and the characters and set up his environment.
A lot of years.
But now you discover things that you thought you knew are untrue, especially the Obi-Wan character who just symbolized purity. And Alec Guinness now, you discover, has lied to my character, possibly for his own gain. And I think that's great because now he's sort of a shade of gray. It's not just pure black and white.
Let me ask you about something, because there was a tremendous amount of attention given to the fact that George Lucas was not only a brilliant filmmaker, but a generous one, and that the principals involved in Star Wars had gone away with points in the film. There were rumors that each of the principals had become independently wealthy, and that Alec Guinness, with his newfound wealth from Star Wars, was subsidizing half of the unemployed acting community in London. Did you have the same kind of arrangement on Empire? Are there points involved for each of you financially?
Yeah, it's a pretty much a common factor of a deal.
Yeah.
Right.
What are you doing?
You know what I mean? You have to have a lot of power.
We were
What's that for?
in the first
I was
film.
like to myself, but there was an echo.
We weren't able to negotiate.
You can go to another spot if you want to.
I wanted
So we were given.
What?
1/10 of 1%
Never mind.
because of all the merchandising, and I wasn't able to get that. but I was able to get more as a gift, which is unusual.
All right.
In the meantime, can I borrow $5 until Thursday?
Do you mind taking it in Canadian funds?
It's probably stronger than ours.
I am going to say goodbye. We'll look at a scene from Empire, but just tell me something, each of you. Harrison, when you tour the way you do, and you wake up in yet another hotel room in another city,
Yeah, a few other
the inner
things
meaning
we
of
can
Han
show you.
Solo. What has it given you? What have you gotten as a man and an artist?
A bad night's sleep.
That's it?
No, I mean, what does it give me to do these interviews?
Yes.
It gives, it's like, that film is like a baby for you. You don't want to set it out in the world unless you know that you've prepared.
Do you learn
A lot. Maybe it's grown.
being interviewed constantly?
Probably.
What do you say?
Do you, Mark?
Oh, yeah.
What did you learn about you?
Movie to a baby, and I was like, world. And I said, the baby is grown.
But sometimes I think the line between analyst and interviewer gets a little low, and I probably talk too much. So I've learned to shut
Probably
up.
like a teenager now.
We will take it for The Empire Strikes. Thank you both.
I like the music there. Just 20,000 hours? Are you dancing too? Oh man.
It's good music.
Let's see what
I
this
wish they had like music like jazzy, like a lot of jazzy music. I don't like ads.
You don't like jazz music?
Well, I don't like ads.
Oh, yeah.
Ads are awful. I mean, if they're like good, like Chick-fil-A ones, they're not bad.
Just flows from us, controls individuals that we have free will. We have a destiny if we want to follow it.
You know
we
what?
live for a reason and must discover what it is. It looks like it was done when I started.
We'll watch this another time. I'm definitely gonna put that into my own separate video. That's gonna be a separate video for the future. All right.
All right.
My computer's very laggy. Sorry. It's laggy. It's lagging. Nothing's popping up. I'm sorry. It's not popping up.
Or something.
We're just gonna have to listen to this. I'm sorry. It's actually not working. I'm telling the truth.
Looks like it was done when I
You
started.
there?
Oh, okay. It looks like it's referring
Just
to
like talk somehow. There's a pause button on mine. Like it's talk.
all the things that's around us is really just a
Pause it.
capsule of what was said in episode 5, the core of the Force.
I hate when stuff doesn't work.
The dark side, the light side.
Yeah, me too.
One is selfless, one is selfish. And you want to keep them in balance.
That's a cool background.
Go to the dark side.
Yeah, I like it.
It's out of balance. And
There we go. All right,
There.
yeah, make my own. Have you seen this? This is like really funny.
And they use something they call pyroprocessing. The interesting thing is they call it pyroprocessing, but it's a molten salt process. They're dissolving this thing in a molten salt. They're doing electrochemistry on it. Why don't they call it?
You're
With molten
just
salt
talking
because
about
that-
house, and then George Lucas just popped out of nowhere.
They're dissolving this thing.
He looks at the
camera. They're dissolving this thing in a molten salt, and they're doing electrochemistry on it.
I mean,
They call it with molten salt because then it brings out another superior thing molten salt can do.
I would never watch that if George Lucas was not there. Who was that?
For the man in the dark, right this way, sir.
Rolling, okay. Mark Hamill was talking with me about Star Wars, of course, among other things. You did TV work. You were in General Hospital for a while.
That was my first continuing job on a series in 70.
How did doing soaps help you mature as an actor?
Soap?
What kind of question is that?
It gives you a real cold look at what the business of putting out product is. You know, we put out a show a day, and that was it. It didn't matter if there was I remember a little flash fire on the set. They countered. It was the closest thing I ever came to doing live television. To work, you know, I was just about to turn 18. I was working with all these seasoned professionals that have been in it for years and years and years.
Hey, Mia, we'll do one more after this, and then that'll be it, all right? You good with that?
Crazy about, I mean, you made fun of the material.
Yeah, right.
I told you once, and I'll tell you again. I'm sorry. I mean, that real, that pace is so laconic and so forth. But it really taught me style in the sense that there's a style to everything. You know, there's a style to Street to San Francisco. There's a style to the Partridge Family. There's a style to Star Wars. There's a style to everything. It's understanding it and trying to work within it. It was a great education. They move so fast. You know, you have cue cards and whatnot, but I was too scared. You know, I was coming right from college theater into that, and I knew all my lines backwards and forwards. And yeah, I remember one time there was a guy who was actually fired at about 10 in the morning. Get out, and the whole scene, you know, all awful. Sure. And he was in our scene. It was me, him, and Ann Wyndham, who played my sister. And so I had 45 minutes. They turned his whole part into a telephone call, sort of a Bob Newhart one-sided. What's that you say, Mrs. Fetterman? You say you already made a left turn? It was like that, but I mean, to have the whole cast come and crowd around and be real supportive, and then to bring it off. I mean, these are things that I'm glad I had a chance to do that. Really. You, of course, have done some theater all along, and since Star Wars, you've done Elephant Man, for instance. You find that people have trouble, I know critics do sometimes, that people tell you they have trouble with seeing you as anything but Luke Skywalker? Well, let's see.
He is Joker, right?
It didn't really happen with Amadeus, because I think a lot of the...
Yeah, a bunch of other movies, too.
Either aware but not enough to really... And if you said Mark Hamill to them, it wouldn't conjure up anything to them.
Well,
So...
Mark Hamill
I mean, I learned one thing. When I got the play, I said, they're all going to love me in this. It's a wonderful play. I'm wonderful in it. And so I would be real shocked, because I said, I can understand getting bad reviews in Star Wars because it's so stilted and so comic book. And gosh, you don't believe in you try and say, gosh, you don't believe in the Force, do you? I mean, I don't care if Laurence Olivier says it. It's going to come off a certain way. But I thought this is a foolproof part, and
it's a movie, like, of course it's real.
I was very angry that Mozart would be portrayed in that way, and et cetera, et cetera. But I'm trying to think of anyone that really brought it into the review. Most people said that they were thinking about it, but as soon as the play started, by the time I come into it, which is 25 minutes, half an hour into it, and plus in that fright wig, sort of a cross between David Bowie and Bozo the Clown. And it's so shocking, I mean, to anyone who's waiting for Luke Skywalker that...
Wait, does it say what year this is in? No,
You've done the PBS radio version of Star Wars too. How is doing just radio different from doing a movie or doing television?
Radio.
I watched the radio version mostly because it was reaching an audience of that couldn't afford to go to the movies. Frankly, I mean, you get letters from these kids. They know the whole story. I don't know how. They know how much I want the Millennium Falcon $39.95. I want Y-Wing Commander. And you really feel bad because, these are underprivileged kids. It was our version of a free concert. Also, too, I didn't really want someone else to play my part. You have to let go somewhere, because finally when the Disney people were going to do all the children's storybook records. Now, I couldn't carry it so far. I wanted Carrie and Harrison to do the radio. Harrison was working. Carrie had other reasons. All I'm saying is that I thought it would be a great gesture on our part. The joy of it is that you're not waiting 18 months for opticals. A scene that took you 10 days to shoot is done in 45 minutes. With the same effect, really, if you're using your imagination. Even better, possibly. I think so, because you can, there's no budget on your imagination. You could have budgeted Star Wars in your imagination 60s, hundreds. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Think of a figure. So the fact that, you know, they had 3 stereo mics and you're blocking and the also too is that you're telling a 2-hour story in 13 half-hour episodes. So I mean, you can really expand upon. You can put in a lot of things that were in the script that had to be cut out for time. You can give a little background. It was fun to work with some great New York actors who I'd seen on stage, and so these guys are coming in doing, you know, Stormtrooper 2 and playing a brilliant role in Equus every night. You just can't believe it. I think that's. I mean, I did it mostly because actors don't get to be in radio anymore. I'm 32. I missed radio. I missed live television, and it was a lot of fun.
You lived in Williamsburg when you were younger. I'm from Virginia. That's why. That's that. How long ago was that?
Well, I thought it was in the Navy, so I was 4, 5, 6, and almost 7 in Williamsburg, and then we lived briefly in Norfolk. And then I went to high school and junior high, 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th grade in Annandale, which is ironic because when you really, you know, telescope that all in, I lived in Virginia more than I lived in California. And because the light coloring, being on the deserts of North Africa, turning my hair light, I really had a reputation as being a California guy. You know, I mean, people thought I was born in Newport Beach and grew up here all my life and that sort of thing. And I feel much more at home on the East Coast. I mean, not that I feel alien out here, but all the surfboards and skateboards and all that sort of stuff, you know, I just never had. I went to high school in Virginia and New York. So to be pegged as a role model for California is just very odd for me.
Okay, we got to stop. I'm sure they won't quit. I could go on and on and on.
I know, we could.
Have a good time.
How long is your show?
I'll probably do 2 or 3 minute pieces out of it.
Skywalker, I'm here to rescue you. It was the part that put a young actor on the map. I am a Jedi.
Mark was very enthusiastic. He was a young heartthrob.
You'll find I'm full of surprises. The role of Luke Skywalker rocketed Mark Hamill to international superstardom.
It changed many things for him.
But it also threatened to typecast him as an action hero.
I don't think enough people know him other than Luke Skywalker.
Mark overcame personal tragedy and professional setbacks to emerge as a multifaceted performer whose wellspring of talent has been showcased in a multitude of enterprises, including movies, television, theater, publishing, animation, and more.
Baby, you're the best. He's this like mad genius. He really is one of a kind.
What a featurette. What are you talking about? All right, we got about 2 more minutes. What do you want to do?
I don't know. What do you want to do?
Yeah, who's James Dean?
What? I don't know. How about we just talk for 2 minutes about
who James Dean is?
I don't know. We're looking at. Who is?
Birth defects strike over 250,000 infants a year in this country alone.
That's just a commercial. Who wants to see that?
I want to see that.
What can we do about it? Plenty. You know, research has shown that some birth defects can be prevented by proper prenatal care, and that includes good nutrition.
That's not
Why would you want to watch that, man?
I don't know. It's so old. All of these are so old. How did they have like camera back then?
Oh, they had interviews back then, you know. You want to end up with this right here?
Talk about the latest aspect of your career, which is, I mean, quite extraordinary. I mean, all
What? Are you frozen? Are you there?
all of a sudden, jackpot with a thing called Star Wars, which I saw last week. I just looked at it. It's super, and it's marvelous escapism. But I mean, how did you come to be involved with a piece of science fiction like that?
Well, it arrived as a script. I was just finishing a picture in Hollywood, and another day to go, and the script arrived on my dressing table.
You want to see this?
and I heard that it had been delivered by George Lucas. And I thought, well, that's rather impressive because he's an up-and-coming, very respect-worthy young director. So.
Master Obi-Wan Kenobi here.
And then when I opened it and found it was science fiction, I thought, oh, crumbs, this is simply not for me. And then I started reading, and it seemed to me the dialogue was pretty ropey. But I had to go on turning the page. And I mean, that's an essential in any script. You've got to know what happens next or next. And I went on reading, and I thought, no, I like this. If only we can get some of the dialogue altered. And then I met him, we got on very well, and I found myself doing it, that's all.
And it's made more money than any other movie ever made.
So I'm told.
And you've got yourself part of the action.
Ah, well.
2.5%, isn't it?
No, not quite that, no.
What is it? So how they come to it?
Well, that's a story. I tried to keep this dark. I don't know where it all sprang from. I think it was the Evening Standard to blame for this. I had a contract. My agent said I've asked for 2% of whatever because we didn't think we'd make it. I've had a percentage on a film before, and they lose money like mad if I have a percentage. And I said, oh, fine, all right, 2%. And the day before the film opened in San Francisco, George Lucas phoned me and said, he's very, he's like Annabelle, he's very diffident and very shy and quiet. He has a funny little voice. And he said, I think the movie's kind of going to be all right. I said, I'm that, Jordan. He said, yeah, the press quite like it.
So Judah.
Cool. He said, we're pleased with,
we're doing good.
Very grateful for the little
Oh, wait, Mia left. And that's something.
So we'd like to offer you another.
You put me back.
Sorry, I didn't know you left.
It's okay. Hi, Judah.
A matter of a few weeks later, in fact, the day I saw the film,
Hi, everyone.
the producer, who again is a charming, delightful
I see you, dude.
chap, I said, about this little something, into the offering. I wonder if we could have something in writing, just so that, my agent and so on believes this. And he said, oh, about the 0.25%, yes.
No fool there. So it's 2.25%.
I don't really get it. Sorry.
All right. Let's then have a look at Star Wars, a clip here. I couldn't begin to appreciate or lead up to this.
Do you know who Michael Parks is?
If you don't know, you play yourself good figure.
I have something here for you. Your father wanted you to have this when you were old enough, but your uncle wouldn't allow it. He feared you might follow old Obi-Wan on some damn fool idealistic crusade like your father did.
Sir, if you're not be needing me, I'll close down.
Probably. What's a lightsaber? What? Years later, they come out with billions more.
Director and produced by George Lucas, 20th Century Fox.
This is the weapon of a Jedi Knight. Not as clumsy or random as a blaster. An elegant weapon, but a more civilized age. For over 1,000 generations, the Jedi Knights were the guardians of peace and justice in the Old Republic. Before the Dark Times. Before the Empire died.
What?
A Jedi named Darth Vader, who refined until he turned to evil, helped the Empire down and destroy the Jedi Knights.
Do you not memorize that?
No. Oh, this is a Brushes of Law video. That's so cool.
Vader was seduced.
This is definitely the bad lip reading right here. Every day I worry all day. Within the That's so funny.
Surrounds us and penetrates us, binds the galaxy together.
Cool.
He's like, who is that guy?
I remember that. I was really young back then.
What's the fascination of it to you, do you think?
I think a marvelous, healthy innocence.
Yes.
Great pace, wonderful to look at, full of guts, nothing unpleasant. I mean, people go banging all over and are dead, but
He's talking about himself?
no,
Yeah.
horror, no sleazy sex. In fact, actually, no sex at all because of that. And a sort of wonderful freshness about it, a kind of like a wonderful fresh air. When I came out of the cinema at Tottenham Court Road, I thought, oh Lord, London's awfully sort of gritty and dirty and full of rubbish, isn't it? Because this had all been so
I think that's
invigorating.
absolutely right, actually. One of the few movies I've come out of recently where I'm really felt happy and uplifted.
That's all. I didn't get too much into it. It's a simple stuff for all.
Probably for you, because you're kind of reading more into it, the sort of guru figure that you.
Oh, yes, I get some pretty strange letters.
Are you?
I
can imagine that.
He died in 2000. I didn't know that.
I've got problems. Would you come over and live with us for a few months?
I would do one more.
Yes.
Really?
Fine, Sam.
Yeah.
One of the biggest movie hits this summer is Star Wars, and it is not unusual to meet a 9 or 10-year-old kid who has seen it 5 or 6 times. Star Wars has got spaceships and princesses, evil robots, and evil villains in black cape. It ends happily ever after. That's nice. And with me are 3 stars of Star Wars. Carrie Fisher, who plays the princess. Mark Hamill, who plays the innocent and brave young hero. And Harrison Ford, the only movie actor named after 2 presidents, who is the dashing, daring space pilot who helps them all escape from danger. Good morning, all.
Good morning.
Is it nice to be named after 2 presidents?
It's never come up before.
Well, it's 2 of the most presidents in American history.
I'm gratified.
Who? Who's he talking about? Which presidents?
Wait. Ford president.
Andrew Ford or
Gerald Ford, and then let's see, that's the 38th president. Harrison president. What's his name? The 9th president was William Henry Harrison. So the 9th and the 38th president. Never knew that.
Same with the exception of Rocky. In the last few years, the kind of audience participation and audience reaction for and to a film that we have for Star Wars.
It's great to sit in a theater and see people really enjoy something like that.
Have you done it? Have you been?
Yeah.
Any of you have you gone to see a theater just anonymously, just go in as a patron?
It's easy to be anonymous.
So
Nobody recognizes us.
You went to on the movie theater, and I wasn't old enough to go with you to see Star Wars. I think it was
because you were in one of the other big hits, American Graffiti, and very good in that, I must say. You've been in 2 enormous popular successoushes.
But you really liked it. So.
The top 25 money makers, and this is going to be sky high, you should pardon the expression. I must ask you,
I think it was the 3rd one.
you are young actors and actresses, and you worked with one of the superb actors of our time, Alec Guinness. What was it like to work with that kind of a master, just like Olivier?
We spent the first half hour of our acquaintanceship trying to get me a flat, on the telephone trying to get me a flat.
They think Alec Guinness is super famous, but he is.
To be one of the people making movies of our time, no doubt about it. One of the hits of the summer.
I was
and
right
these are
at the
3
time.
of the non-robots.
What?
Mark Hamill is back as Luke.
Yeah, we've seen that one, right? All right, yeah, this is gonna do. We're gonna be doing this more often, or not more often, but we're gonna be doing this again. This is definitely not the last time that we're gonna be for sure. Well, I don't know. There we go. Hopefully everybody enjoyed.
Yes.
Here, I have a question. If I don't share my screen, can you still hear it?
No.
Here, try it. Can you hear this?
You're such a delightful young man, Mark.
Can you
Is
hear
that
it?
Right for an old lady.
Oh, well, I don't see any old lady.
Come on now. Who's in the lapel?
My lapel, that's a little cowboy that Carrie Fisher gave.
Can anybody else hear it?
Huh?
Can anybody else hear it? I can hear it.
Yeah, if you can hear it, everybody can, yeah.
Okay.
It's good. Okay. Let's see. I got another thing. You got time for another one or not?
If it's a short one and if it's funny and good, and yeah, maybe. Stop. Stop, please.
You don't like it when I do that?
Never do that again.
All right, can you hear this?
Show me the one whose
Oh, wait.
safety deemed
Commercial,
such
sorry.
destruction.
Mark Hamill.
Oh, you got to see the beginning of this one. This one's awesome. This guy here. You ready? Can you see it?
The commercial?
No, it's just. No, it's not a
Oh.
commercial. Look.
Mark Hamill had his first big motion picture break with Star Wars. Now he's back with Corvette Summer. Mark, how do you go from a superhero Skywalker
I'll do that again.
what?
What's he doing?
Mark Hamill had his first big motion picture break with Star Wars. Now he's back with Corvette Summer. Mark, how do you go from a serious role
Probably didn't know it was gonna be like really like popular everywhere.
Corvette Summer? Why? I mean, why?
Why not? Why not? I mean, really, after Star Wars, I certainly wasn't being offered Coriolanus off Broadway by Joe Papp.
But some summer car movie, Beach Blanket Bingo.
What a meanie. You know what? I think the title is so wrong. I really believe it's a love story. It's a sweet, little, unpretentious movie. And they give us a title like that, I really feel like Frankie Avalon.
You fall in love with a car, right?
Well, I think it's about transferring of values. You know, this kid's obsessed with the car, and he meets this girl, and by the time he gets the car back, he doesn't want it. It's like, hey, this lady.
What are they talking
But I
about?
don't think I really don't think you have to think
Star Wars.
a Corvette Stingray is a neat car to like the movie.
What
Because I think
movie?
you've seen it.
Oh, a
bizarre.
different movie he's in.
It is a good film. I did see it, and I liked it a lot.
It's just a
In fact,
different movie
Let's
that
take a
he's
look
in.
at one of the
Stop
clips.
toying with my.
Let's take a look at one of the clips from Corvette Summer.
I'm not watching.
Really?
It's a movie. Yeah, it's a different movie. Corvette Summer.
Hey, sorry, man. I didn't see you. Hey, that was a good clip, Fred.
Did you get hurt in that?
You know, they told me you have no fear. Have no fear whatsoever. I'm going to hit the brakes and flip over no matter what you do. Just step out in front of me. And the camera's in a way where I said, well, great. I'm Mr. I'll do anything. And then he just smashed into my
Star Wars
to
part.
the hospital twice. in this
Yeah, hold
movie.
on.
I have a new outlook on stunts, actually.
I have a new outlook on car films because I saw Corvette Summer and I liked it a lot.
Great.
The title kind of at
Yeah.
first, but I liked it a lot, and I think it was good.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us.
All right.
I'm Fred Saxon.
And
That's
I'm Fred Saxon. And will the real Fred Saxon please stand up? Oh, hey, hey.
What?
You know, people ask me about
let's do
Sir
this
Alec
one.
Guinness. I guess the two most often questions are Sir Alec and the
No,
robot.
that one
And
was
there's a
funny.
wonderful
That's my
story
favorite
that
one,
kind of
actually.
tells you about both of them. There was many dwarves in the film and midgets to play little Jawas, little creatures.
You could
And
play
there
a
was
you
one
could play a
who in
midget.
real life
Yeah?
was not an
Or a
actor, he's a
Jawa?
comedian. He's a comic in music hall, which is like vaudeville.
You're like
over
Star
there. And he's a spritz comic. He's an
I'm
insult to
taller than mom.
waist high Don Rickles.
I'm like
And-
5.
Seriously, he was always
Like
he would just insult me. He could never
four,
deal with it because
5'5".
you couldn't get a joke.
You know,
It was too
5'8".
funny.
All for like
An example, one of his running gags was he felt that it was an insult that he didn't get a chair with his name on it, and all the actors in the film did. So he found this rock in the Sahara Desert, this big flat rock, and he took a piece of adhesive tape and put his name in indelible ink, and he carried this rock every location we went on in Africa before the truck could even unload our chairs. Well, we were he would already be there with an umbrella, a little lemonade, some sunglasses, and sun oil. Say, oh, did your truck break down or what? So we were.
Wonderful.
Well, that's it. We went one night to dinner with Sir Alec, and he's very reserved, kind of shy at first.
Why
but
is
he has a sense of
Judas'
humor that
message
really
still
comes out, and
All
he
right, I
helped
gotta
me
get back to
this
work.
guy. Because Tony Daniels, who preview, said, "Tell Sir Alec what he told
Why is
you."
it still
and I said,
up
"Oh
there?
yeah."
I
Jack,
take it down. Take it down.
Can you put it down?
He said, "You know, I do joke
I
a
don't.
lot."
I'm not a host. I can't do any of the stuff you're doing.
So awe of
Can
Sir
you
Alec.
make me the host?
And I don't know what to say because when I was a kid in London, I would go all
Give
over
me a
town
top
to try and see one of his films. And I said, well, gee, didn't you meet him when we got on the charter airplane? And very seriously, he said, oh, yeah, he's a tremendous guy. When I got on the plane, he spoke to me straight away. He said, get out of my way. So I said, you little, I'm going to get you. And we told Guinness this. Now, Guinness chuckled, and he sort of stroked his beard.
I have
We were
dreams
in a
like
big
that.
dining hall, and Jack, this little dwarf, was over holding court. Big laugh at the dinner table. And Guinness leaned over to me and said, which small person is he? And I said, see that guy over my right shoulder? Now, fade out. 2 weeks later, we're in the desert again. It's complete open wilderness. Everywhere you can look, you can walk with your eyes closed and never fall down. And Jack is sitting on his rock reading his book. And Guinness started very slowly walking towards Jack. And I said, this is it. This is the day. And I kind of watched from the side. Guinness had the hood on, like that big sorcerer's hood. And he's really ominous looking. And he kept getting closer to Jack and closer to Jack. And Jack started like looking around and thinking, well, I'd better say something. So he was halfway off his rock to say hello. And Guinness pulled the hood back and said, get out of my way, get out. And Jack, the blood dropped from his face and he was shaking. He just looked all around because you could go anywhere and not bump into him. Well, Jack said to me, I have to hand it to you.
That's not really nice.
It's kind of funny.
I understand, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're just like, woo, woo, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Woo. Who says woo,
All right,
woo?
you got anything to say?
What?
All right,
think
let's see, I'm good.
Everything.
Can you make me the host? Please.
No. Sorry. No, thank you. I'm trying to find something. Say something. I'm sorry. I'm trying to find something.
Like Judah. All right, I gotta get back to work. Why is that still up there?
I don't know. Okay, I think I must. I thought I saved it. The thing I'm looking for. It was something from a very, very long time ago. But I guess.
We can do that next time, right, River?
Yeah, we got plenty of things.
Anybody watching this, like, is anybody watching this like live?
Yeah, most people don't because it just depends on what the time and all of it is. But I mean, it could be.
Is anybody doing it? You can see like the number, right?
Yeah, not at the moment. No.
Aww.
We had about, let me see. I think we had like 4 or 5 at one time.
Yeah, we had like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Incredible
10,
experience.
8, like 8. No, like 9 or like 9 people commenting. They're like different people. That it's at different times, so.
Cool.
I think. So I might have to end this soon. Oh, you might have to end this soon.
It's some work I got to do as well. It's my thing I was trying to find. I guess it's just not there anymore.
Not there.
It's kind of confusing about how it's not there anymore. But
how is it not there?
I guess it's okay.
I think it's fine, right?
Yeah.
Reacting to old
I'll save it for next time. I'll find it next time. How about that?
For next time.
Yeah, I'll find it. What's
no, you're
this?
again.
What was your favorite part of high school?
I'm frozen.
Well, you were.
But then why have you always been so elusive as yourself?
Elusive?
You've always kept extremely elusive, haven't you?
All right, Mia. You got any final words? That's it for today. For the podcast. No, it's not really a podcast. This is only going to be available on YouTube.
Wait, is this on the link or is it like on the channel or what? Because the other video you did the 100 sub thing was a link, like it was unlisted. Is this unlisted?
No, this is not gonna be unlisted. This is gonna be saved. It's gonna be the you can watch it midnight. Yes, every stream I do at midnight is when it's fully loaded, HD, full quality, all that. So yeah, you'll see it. It'll be good by then.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, I think this is gonna be it. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Join us tomorrow about 2 p.m. Around then. We're gonna be doing. We have
I might be too, but I might not because I have dance.
2 new people tomorrow at 2 p.m. Are gonna be on the podcast. So and I think you're gonna enjoy this. So it's gonna be pretty fun.
Exciting.
Alrighty. Well, see you, everybody.